The sun beat down on Ouagadougou, making the air shimmer above the dusty streets. It was so hot, even the lizards hid in the shade. Inside the presidential palace, President Ibrahim Traoré wiped sweat from his brow. He wasn't just hot from the weather. A message had just arrived, a message that made his blood run cold. 17 officers, men he trusted, were planning a coup. They wanted to take over the government. And worse, whispers pointed to foreign agents, people from other countries, helping them. These outsiders wanted to control Burkina Faso, to take its resources and tell its people what to do. Traoré felt a surge of anger. He wouldn't let them. He had promised to protect his country, to make it strong and independent. He wouldn't let these traitors steal that dream. He knew he had to act fast, but carefully. One wrong move, and everything could fall apart. He needed someone he could trust, someone brave and smart. He knew just the person. He pressed a button on his desk. "Bring Captain Khanate to me immediately." Captain Khanate was more than just the head of intelligence. He was Traoré's closest friend. They had fought side by side for years, dreaming of a better Burkina Faso. Khanate was brave, loyal, and incredibly clever. If anyone could help him stop this coup, it was him. Soon, Khanate strode into the office, his face serious. "Mr. President, you asked for me." "Khanate, we have a problem," Traoré said, his voice low. He explained everything, the 17 officers, the foreign agents, the plot to overthrow the government. Khanate listened intently, his jaw tightening. "Traitors," he spat. "They will not succeed, Mr. President. I swear it." "I know, Khanate, but we must be careful. We can't risk a civil war. We need a plan, a way to stop them without bloodshed." Khanate nodded. "Give me the names, the locations. I will gather my best men. We will watch them, learn their plans. And when the time is right, we will strike." His eyes gleamed with determination. They will not see it coming. Khanate left the president's office and immediately set to work. He called in his most trusted team. These were men and women who had proven their loyalty time and again, risking their lives for Burkina Faso. He told them about the 17 officers, the foreign agents, and the danger facing their country. "These traitors are like snakes in the grass," Khanate said, his voice hard. "They hide in the shadows, pretending to be our friends, while plotting to stab us in the back. We must find them, expose them, and stop them before they can poison our nation." He spread out a map of Ouagadougou on the table. "These are the locations we know about," he said, pointing to different spots. "Homes, offices, meeting places. I want eyes on all of them, day and night. I want to know who they talk to, what they eat, even what they dream about. We need to understand their plan completely." He assigned teams to each location, emphasizing the need for secrecy and precision. "Remember," he said, "our goal is to capture them, not to kill them. We must show the world that Burkina Faso is a nation of justice, not revenge." The 17 officers thought they were being so clever. They met in secret, whispering plans and plotting their takeover. They believed they were untouchable, that no one would suspect them. But Khanate's team was always watching, always listening. They learned that the officers planned to seize key buildings, the radio station, the army headquarters, the presidential palace. They would spread lies on a radio, telling the people that Traoré was a bad leader. They would use the army to scare anyone who disagreed. And then there were the foreign agents. These are the sneakiest of all. They provided money, weapons, and advice. They wanted to control Burkina Faso so they could take its gold, its cotton, its land. They didn't care about the people, only about their own greed. Khanate felt a burning anger. These outsiders thought they could just walk in and take what wasn't theirs. He would show them that Burkina Faso was not so easily controlled. He would protect his country, no matter the cost. He and Traoré would work together to expose their wicked plans. Traoré and Khanate met again, poring over the intelligence reports. The plan was taking shape, a delicate dance of timing and precision. They needed to act before the officers launched their coup, but they couldn't risk a violent confrontation. "We need to catch them all at once," Traoré said, pointing to the map. "A coordinated strike, hitting all their locations simultaneously. That's the only way to prevent bloodshed." Khanate nodded. My team can handle it, Mr. President. We will use speed and surprise. We will surround their meeting places, cut off their escape routes, and arrest them before they even know what's happening. They decided to strike during the officers' next secret meeting. Konate's team would move in under the cover of darkness, using unmarked vehicles and silent tactics. They would disable the officers' weapons and communications, ensuring they couldn't call for help or resist. Traoré insisted on one crucial detail: no guns unless absolutely necessary. We want to show the world that we are a nation of peace, even in the face of treachery. The operation had to be smart, quick, and clean. The future of Burkina Faso depended on it. The night of the operation was dark and still. Konate's team moved like shadows, surrounding the building where the officers were meeting. They cut the power, plunging the building into darkness. Then, with a signal from Konate, they stormed inside. The officers were caught completely by surprise. Before they could even reach for their weapons, Konate's team had them pinned to the ground. There was no resistance, no bloodshed. The operation went exactly as planned. At the same time, other teams raided the homes and offices of the foreign agents. They were arrested just as easily, their plans and equipment seized. The coup had been stopped before it even began. Konate reported to Traoré, "Mr. President, the operation is complete. All 17 officers and the foreign agents are in custody. No one was hurt." Traoré breathed a sigh of relief. "Excellent work, Konate. You have saved our country." He knew the real work was just beginning. He had to tell the people what had happened, and he had to convince them that justice, not revenge, was the way forward. The next morning, President Traoré stood before the nation, his face grave but resolute. The news of the attempted coup had spread like wildfire, and the people were anxious and angry. They wanted revenge. "My fellow citizens," Traoré began, his voice calm and strong. "Yesterday, our nation faced a grave threat. 17 officers, betraying the trust we placed in them, plotted to overthrow our government. They were aided by foreign agents, seeking to exploit our country for their own gain." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Traoré raised his hand for silence. But thanks to the bravery and loyalty of Captain Konate and his team, the coup was thwarted. The traitors are in custody, and justice will be served. He paused, letting his words sink in. "However," he continued, "we must not let anger and revenge guide our actions. We are a nation of laws, a nation of principles. We must ensure that these traitors receive a fair trial, that their crimes are exposed, and that justice is done. But we must not resort to violence or hatred. That is not who we are." He urged them to trust in the legal system, to believe in the power of justice to heal and rebuild. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but it was the only way to build a stronger, more united Burkina Faso. Traoré knew he couldn't stop there. He had to expose the foreign powers that had tried to manipulate his country. He held up documents seized from the foreign agents, revealing their identities and their connections to powerful corporations and governments. "These are the faces of those who seek to control us," he said, his voice filled with righteous anger. "They offer money and weapons, but they demand our freedom in return. They promise prosperity, but they deliver only poverty and exploitation." He explained how these foreign powers wanted to control Burkina Faso's resources, its gold, its cotton, its land. They didn't care about the people, only about their own profit. They saw Africa as a place to be exploited, not as a continent of proud and independent nations. They believe they can divide us, weaken us, and control us, Traoré declared. But they are wrong. We are Africans, and we will not be colonized again. We will stand together, united and strong, and we will defend our sovereignty. His words resonated deeply with the people. They had long suspected that foreign powers were interfering in their affairs, but now they had proof. A wave of anger and determination swept through the crowd. They were ready to fight for their freedom, for their future. Traoré's speech sparked a fire, not just in Burkina Faso, but across Africa. People in other countries, tired of being told what to do by foreign powers, saw Traoré as a hero. They shared his speech online, organized protests, and demanded that their own leaders stand up to colonial exploitation. In cities and villages, people gathered to listen to Traoré's words, translating them into different languages and sharing them with their neighbors. They felt a sense of hope they hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe, just maybe, Africa could finally be free. Students marched in the streets, carrying signs that read, "Africa for Africans" and "No more colonialism." Farmers refused to sell their crops to foreign companies, demanding fair prices for their hard work. Ordinary people, inspired by Traoré's courage, found their own voices and began to fight for their rights. Even in countries where the governments were friendly with foreign powers, people began to question their leaders. They saw that Traoré was willing to risk everything to protect his country, and they wondered why their own leaders weren't doing the same. The seeds of change had been planted, and they were beginning to sprout. Traoré's message was spreading like wildfire. But Traoré's actions didn't go unnoticed by the foreign powers he had exposed. They started to put pressure on Burkina Faso. They cut off aid money, making it harder to buy food and medicine. They spread lies about Traoré in the international media, trying to make him look like a bad leader. Life became very difficult for the people of Burkina Faso. Prices went up, and many people lost their jobs. Some started to doubt Traoré, wondering if he had made the right decision. The foreign powers hoped that by making life so hard, they could force Traoré to back down, to give them what they wanted. Traoré refused to be intimidated. He knew that the foreign powers were testing him, trying to break his spirit. He knew that if he gave in, it would send a message to the rest of Africa, that they couldn't stand up to the powerful nations of the world. He told his people, "These are difficult times, but we must be strong. We must not give in to fear. We must continue to fight for our freedom and our independence. We will not be bullied. We will not be bought. We will stand tall, and we will overcome these challenges together." He knew the road ahead would be tough, but he was determined to stay the course. Traoré knew that he couldn't just stay in the capital and give speeches. He had to go out and meet the people, to listen to their concerns, and to remind them why they were fighting. He traveled to villages all over Burkina Faso, talking to farmers, teachers, and ordinary citizens. He sat with them under the shade of mango trees, sharing stories and listening to their worries. He explained the challenges they faced, the pressure from foreign powers, and the need to stay strong. He reminded them that they were not alone, that people all over Africa were supporting them. He encouraged them to find creative solutions to their problems, to support each other, and to never give up hope. He helped them start small businesses, build schools, and improve their farms. He showed them that even in the face of adversity, they could create a better future for themselves and their children. His visits gave the people a renewed sense of hope and determination. They saw that their leader cared about them, that he was willing to share their struggles. They realized that they were all in this together, and that they could overcome any challenge if they worked together. Traoré's connection with the people deepened. Even as things started to improve, Traoré never let his people forget the danger that still lurked. He reminded them that the foreign powers wouldn't give up easily. They would try new tricks, new ways to undermine their freedom. "We must remain vigilant," he warned. "We must watch out for those who try to divide us, for those who spread lies and rumors. We must be ready to defend our country against any threat, both internal and external." He encouraged people to report anything suspicious to the authorities, to work together to protect their communities. He strengthened the intelligence services, giving them the resources they needed to monitor potential threats. He also emphasized the importance of education. "An educated people is a strong people," he said. "We must teach our children about our history, about our culture, and about the importance of freedom and independence. We must equip them with the knowledge and skills they need to build a better future for Burkina Faso." He knew that true independence required constant vigilance and a commitment to education and unity. He needed them to stay strong. Years later, Burkina Faso was a very different place. The economy was stronger, the people were more united, and the country was more respected on the world stage. Traoré had kept his promise to protect his country and to build a better future for its people. But he never forgot the lessons he had learned during the coup attempt. He knew that the fight for freedom was never truly over, that there would always be new challenges, new threats. Standing before a group of young people, eager to build their nation, Traoré spoke with the wisdom of experience. "We have won a great victory," he said, "but this is just one battle in a long war. The struggle for true independence never ends. We must always be vigilant, always be prepared to defend our freedom." He looked out at the faces of the future, his heart filled with hope. He knew that the fight for freedom would continue, but he also knew that the people of Burkina Faso were ready for it. They had learned the value of unity, the importance of education, and the power of courage. The journey to full freedom was long, but the people of Burkina Faso, and indeed Africa, were ready to take those steps.